Now. Okay, well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday, the 21st of March, and we're into spring, so hopefully nicer days along the way. This morning, we've got the full house. We've got Ian, Steve, Liam, and new board member, Tony Evans. It is Tony, isn't it, Tony? We can call you Tony.
Tony's fine, yes.
Yeah, we've got Tony, who's the new board member. We have received quite a lot of questions today, so I'm not sure if we're going to get through them all in the 40 minutes that we're allowed. I think the spotlight, unfortunately for you, Tony, it's going to fall on you for this one mainly because there's a lot of questions coming your way, so stand by for them.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Just start off, Steve, it's nice to see you back in the land of the living. I know you've had a bit of a rough time with your coronavirus. Are you back on good terms now?
Yeah. Basically, I just want to say a few thank yous if it's okay, because I mean, it really was a tough time for me, like, you know. As Liam says, I just keep milking it, but no, I really do. I need to just say, I mean, I did make some bullet points, you know, so I don't forget anybody. I mean, basically, I just want to say thanks to Ian, Liam, Sam, the players, the staff, the volunteers, and the likes of you, Rob, who took the trouble to send me get well messages. You know, it was much appreciated because it was a really long sort of recovery. Like, you know, I mean, Ian, Sam, and Liam with his wit rang me nearly every other day, like, you know. I mean, Liam's wit didn't help me with me breathing or anything like that. It's just making me laugh, and you know, it was really appreciated. But the big thank you really is to Claire Kyle. I mean, if Claire hadn't sent me that oximeter, the little machine that I put on my finger, that was the thing that put me actually into hospital. Like, you know, my sister-in-law, she's a nurse practitioner, she's a nurse consultant, and when she read the actual the oxygen levels, it was she said, you've got to ring the ambulance. So I was bullied into that by the wife, and obviously Doreen, the sister-in-law. So the ambulance came, took me away. So I mean, like I say, I mean, what they did at hospital was amazing, like, you know, and to see what you do see in there is not what you want to see every day, you know. But honestly, like the fans, I got messages from the fans, everybody, it was brilliant. But I mean, I was a month and a half before I was allowed out, and first thing you do, you've got to go to my second home, which is the Pure Stadium, Hague Avenue. It was just great to see all the lads, like, you know, just beavering away around the ground. The likes of Dave, the usual ones, Dave, Craig, Tony, Brian, Anthony, Fred, Rod, Michael, Andy, and obviously Amish is there as well. I mean, they're all doing a great job down at the ground, like, you know, getting it ready basically for when we get back. So, I mean, it's the guys, like, I mean, Tony's going to meet all these guys eventually over the next few months or so, because you need a wire brush, by the way, so, and a scraper and a paintbrush, but there's a lot of metal to go at, mate. But
just say Tony, 20 minutes of questioning.
All right, I'm going now. But
no, it's seriously, Steve, it's good to see you back up and running.
If you can see over my shoulder, I just want to get that in as well. I mean, even if we can have a day like this, I mean, Rob, Liam, and me have experienced this. Like, you know, it's a day you never forget. I mean, the likes of Tony and Ian would love to have a day like this. So what I've done, I had 11 years ago. We did. I had some photo surrounds signed by Liam, the players, and everybody at the club. So I've actually had another one signed up now. So in the next few weeks, it'll be going for auction, and there will be a reserve price on it. So keep. All right, Tom. So there will be a reserve price. So just keep watching the website, and we'll be putting something on, and people can make a bid for it.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve.
So,
and as I say,
thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Good to see you back up in the land of the living. Okay, Tony.
We've got any time left?
We've got about 35 minutes, yeah. So Tony, just about cover your questions, so we'll see. Obviously, when anybody new comes into a football club, there's an element of, oh my goodness, who is he, what's he done, and so on and so on. And there has been a bit of scrutiny on everything. So just tell us a little bit about your background, Tony, and how you've come to be involved at Southport.
Okay, so that's a good question. Liam and I have, Liam stepped into my world over the last 4 or 5 years and become familiar with him. We sit on a couple of boards together. He's been on the opposite side a couple of times, and our friendship has grown. And football's been a passion of mine for many, many years. And obviously, our conversations tend to slip to football. And obviously, Liam's interest in and what he does with Southport is obviously it's a big part of our conversation. So I've come quite familiarised with the club over the last few years, been supporting the club and looking on and just observing like any football fan would do. And it's just conversations just led down this way, and we are where we are. Yeah.
What do you think you can bring to the board?
What I can bring to the board? Well, obviously I've got a knowledge of football. I understand the game, played from when I was a young lad. So an understanding from a fan's perspective as well, how they would perceive the football club, but also from a commercial point of view, we got some really good contacts in business, bring some advertisements in, some additional revenue streams potentially, and also me linked to amateur football in Liverpool and in other cities. I'm well connected in that field as well, and there's always rare talent coming through. Some that obviously the football club have benefited from, with obviously Liam's track record in developing players. But obviously there's players that get missed out on as well and go to rival clubs and end up playing in football leagues. For say that, if we have a toe in that side of football, then that can create opportunity for Southport Football Club.
Yeah, Liam, you've known Tony for a while, I believe. What do you think his qualities are that he adds to the football club?
Well, obviously he's going to bring a lot of business acumen to the board to go along. I think Tony and Ian have got a relationship in their own work levels, which is good. So it's not just a two-way relationship. There's other people involved in it. And I said he's been a regular visitor to the Pure Stadium. Nearly said Hay Gavin. Pure Stadium for the last few years, and been to a lot of away games as well. So he's took a real interest in it. Probably understands what we've been trying to do for the last couple of years, which is also helpful, and vitally important that we're all working off the same page, that we want to go forward and do things in a certain way, which is going to be beneficial to the football club. And he buys into that, and if you get that added on, we've said all along we need to strengthen the board, but we need to strengthen the squad. So at this moment in time, it's the first strengthening to the board, and then it takes it into the summer.
Tony, you have had previous involvement in football with Stockport, and when your appointment was first made to Southport, when everybody first saw it, there was a bit of a reaction from Stockport fans. What do you say to them and to the Southport fans to put everybody's mind at rest about your future time with Southport?
Okay, well, so first of all, the time at Stockport, we'll deal with that particular situation. The football club was in a hell of a worse state than what was advertised, and the deal kept on getting changed as a consequence of new things that we would unearth. When we've done our due diligence, I feel like our time at Stockport was undervalued. A lot of the players that were brought through under our tenure went on to play, as high as the Championship. And we sort of left that club in a hell of a lot better state than we did when we entered it. We capitalised it. We put a long-term sponsorship in place. I added to the playing squad within the budgets that were already set from the previous year. So I think that football club's gone from strength to strength since as well, which is really good, benefiting from player sales and so on. So I've got nothing to be embarrassed over or scrutinised over where Stockport County is concerned. So I'm quite disappointed by that. But again, a Scouser coming into a football club, young lad, you know, probably set a few eyebrows up at the time, and rightfully so, you know, because it was well before my time. But I learned a lot from the experience at Stockport County, and I'm very, very grateful for being given the opportunity. And if things were different, and we could have, found a resolution to it, then again, I've no doubt that we would have had many, many good experiences with the football club.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so Southport. Listen, this is a successful team already. This is Liam. This is Ian Potty. You know, I'm just joining an already existing team which has got a plan in place, which I buy into. Ultimately, that's it. So there is a plan in place for the football club, which is being discussed over the last few years as part of my friendship with Liam. So I just buy into the team, I buy into what they're about, I buy into the community of what the football club represents, how important it is for certain people. Certainly after a time of what we're still going through now, but hopefully coming out of. You know, people are important, and having a community base where people can come in and support something and get involved is fantastic. It's what I'm about as a human being. So yeah, I'd just like to see if I can benefit the football club in any way.
Good. Ian, I'm sure when you first came into the club, you were subject to a similar sort. I think there was all sorts of rumours flying about some of the connections you had in football, and you've been through this. So what would you say to that question? To the same sort of question to Tony?
It's a very similar scenario, isn't it, Rob? You know, a lot of questions were asked about myself, about relationships I did or didn't have with other people involved in football. Some of those people I had to Google to actually find out who they were. You know, there's always going to be an element of uncertainty when anyone comes into the football club. You know, and this is why, to be fair, you know, Liam and I have spent a lot of time talking to Tony, so that kind of the way we move forward and everything we do is done in a very sensible manner. You know, there's been no kind of rushing into this on either side. You know, we've had lots of chats, all of us. We know who Tony is, we know what Tony's doing, and more importantly, we know what Tony can bring to the table. You know, we've relied massively on our current sponsors for the last 12, 18 months to get us through this. And we'll always be grateful for that. And, you know, we're hopefully building those relationships. But Tony will bring something new to the table. Tony's got links to companies that, you know, we could never dream of talking to. You know, and that's what he can bring, as well as obviously, you know, as Tony's alluded to, you know, he comes to Southport, he watches the games, he's knowledgeable about his football, you know, and he has long chats with Liam and I, and has been for, you know, most weeks through the last season. So, you know, as I say, there's always going to be questions, there's always going to be speculation. To be honest, you know, the four of us just have got to kind of get our heads down and concentrate on the way forward, and, you know, how we get out of the situation that coronavirus left us in last year, and how we now move forward and start planning for next season.
Does becoming a board member involve putting a lot of money in? That's for Ian or Tony, whichever one you want to.
Well, the way we've done it with Tony, as I say, is we're being sensible. You know, there's no kind of big mad rush to move to do anything.
Yeah,
Tony needs to come onto the board, which he's now done. You know, he needs to get a feel for how we operate, who we are, you know, what we're doing, how we're moving forward. We'll do the same with Tony, and, you know, let's let him get established on the board and let him bring to the table what he can do. You know, and they're chats that we can have further down the line.
yeah. Ian, once again for you, obviously everyone was very pleased to see that we've strengthened the board. Is the scope to strengthen it further?
Well, I mean, look, I think we're really lucky that Tony got in touch with us and Tony wanted to get involved. And if we can attract people of Tony's caliber, then obviously we're always going to talk to anyone who we think can bring a lot to the table. You know, time will show that we're really lucky to get Tony on board. And if there are other people who contact us of a similar vein, then, you know, I don't think there's many football clubs who would turn them away at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I think that just about has covered all. So I might come back to a couple of things in the end, but got a few more general things now. So I'll bring Liam in, so we'll talk a bit of football for a minute, Liam, if we can. Early days, I know, and we're only in March. The season hasn't finished as such yet. But as far as players that we've got on board at the moment, how do we stand going forward with them? Are they all on furlough? Are you hoping that most of them will sign up for next season?
Yeah, everyone's furloughed, which we know. We said certain players who've already got contracts for next season, certain people with options, for certain players out of contract, which really we're not going to have any discussions about the out of contract ones until it's over. And then contract dates come to an end. And then we'll start looking at that. Obviously, it's going to give us a massive pre-season going in. We've got to be careful what we do, because probably we set up pre-season last year to start on a date, which then got extended. So we ended up playing something 13 games, which probably, now the fact that the league finished early, it's not too bad, but we couldn't do that again. So pre-season plans are moving along. All the dates, the training, etc., they're all in place. So it's just a case of putting in games. 4 home games, 3 away. We've already got the 3 away games penciled in. So we're just looking for the 4 nice established home games, which will bring a bit of revenue stream into the club.
Yeah, because we missed out on that the last 2 years, as Ian knows only too well. Yeah. Will the playing budget be affected by the pandemic, Ian or Liam?
Well, I mean, we have been sensible. The key word last season was sensible. You know, we didn't overstretch ourselves because there was so much uncertainty. There is still, you know, a lot of uncertainty now. It's for us now to kind of gauge how we move forward over the next couple of months. Let's get talking to our sponsors again. And, you know, the budget isn't going to be any less than it has been. You know, we need to see now how we can maximize moving forward, and then start planning for next season. Yeah. You know, there are teams in a lot worse position than us, put it that way.
Yeah, there's a feeling that the teams like Fylde, York, Boston, surely are going to dominate because of the big budgets they've got. Do you think that is going to be the case, Liam?
Well, I've seen lots of teams with lots of money not dominate. I said, you know, it's all well and good saying, you know, these clubs are going to do what they do. They'll only be judged at the end of the season. I said, I think this year Gloucester had a big budget. Fylde obviously had a massive budget. Boston have always, but there's a lot. I think it took Harrogate 10 years to get out of the conference. So it took Luton 5 or 6 years to get out of the conference.
Yeah.
So budgets certainly help you, but they don't guarantee. If that was the case, everyone would get promoted with the biggest budget.
That's right.
Let's not forget Kings Lynn went up last year and they didn't have anywhere near the biggest budget in the league. So
no,
you know,
it can be done. Good. Liam, a lot of comments about Dion. He's done absolutely brilliantly since he's gone on to Accrington. Another goal yesterday. Now called up for Northern Ireland. Does the call up to Northern Ireland bring any financial benefit to Southport?
I don't think, in terms of the deal we did, in terms of the sell-off, I don't think people have had people ask me, but people got to remember Dion was already a Northern Ireland under-21 international when he left Southport.
Yeah.
So no one's going to add that into any deal. But we'd always preferred the bigger sell-on clause because we believed he would go on and do what he has done. I said I spoke to Dion myself for half an hour on Friday, and trying to keep him as humble as possibly can, trying to keep him focused. Had a little bit of a wobble because he's carried a couple of knocks in the last couple of games. I went to watch him on Wednesday against Sunderland, and you know, he'd be the first to admit he wasn't at his best. But you know, a young lad, he's getting a lot of publicity. There's reported a lot of genuine interest in conference from championship clubs. I think if in a football world, if someone ends up with 20 league goals in a league and he gets an full international cap, he's going to raise his profile. And if he raises his profile, obviously, and he gets moved on, he's got to be extremely grateful for what Southport have done for him, and then obviously what Accrington have done. But above all, he's got to be proud of himself. You know, when the decision was made to listen, I probably had enough frustrating days when he was on the wing, and then he was going to become a centre forward. He bought into it, and he worked extremely hard. If you look at it now, he's only about 2 years into his career as a striker. So he's gone from the Conference North to playing for his country in a World Cup qualifier, hopefully, within 2 years as a centre forward.
Yeah.
So you don't do that unless you're prepared to roll your sleeves up and work extremely hard. And I think I was pointing out to Dion on Friday night is he's now actually put his head above the parapet. So when he's actually scoring goals, and goals change games, and results come with goals, so Accrington start winning games. When they're having a little wobble, people look at Dion thinking, come on, you've got to give us more. And that's what comes with the territory. So I centre forwards earn more money.
Yeah.
I think probably going to find it a little bit more difficult at the moment. Colby Bishop is out injured. The two of them as a front two are very good, but Sean McConnell went up front with him yesterday and produced 3 assists.
Yeah.
So Dion got himself another goal, so he goes into the Ireland camp now full of confidence.
Good, lovely. Well, he's done really well. Right, I've got quite a few more general ones now, which probably Ian, and I know this one will wind you up, but did we ever consider voting to play on?
No.
Thank you.
You know, I think we made clear that we weren't just looking at any stage at ourselves. I mean, obviously, we always had to look after Southport. But the idea from the very start of the season, from October, and I think even Michael Tattersall at the National League said that, every club would start the league and every club would finish. And as we got into December and then January, it became apparent that, and I said earlier, kind of we're in a better position than some clubs. And that became even more apparent. Clubs were genuinely struggling. And as we went through January, it became obvious that clubs were not going to finish the league. And Liam and Potty and I spoke at length, and whilst clubs were really in danger of going out of business, there's no way we could have carried on. And we said a couple of times, I think, publicly, that the last thing that we wanted to do as a club was take 3 points off a club because they were going bust and couldn't afford to play. And whilst there were other clubs kind of not of a shared opinion to ourselves, who were kind of seeing it as an opportunity to throw more money at it and get promoted, it just didn't sit right with us. And there's no way we were going to carry on.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a lot of messages where people have said thank you to the work that the board has done, the volunteers, etc., etc. And this goes on to say, hopefully next season the league and football will return to normal. With the club hopefully now settled following the upheavals, what does the board realistically aspire to achieving on and off the field over the next 5 years? Now, we've been dangerous in the past with having 5-year plans, and I think a former chairman got ridiculed for setting a form of a 5-year plan. So I don't want to do that, but just thoughts, Ian, how you think things could progress over the next few years.
Well, I think, over the last 12 months, it's been more like a 5-minute plan. Because everything has been changing so quickly. First and foremost, we are making loud noises to the league at the moment that, the season should start only if we can all be assured that fans can be in the ground. We know that, not just football at our level, football at every level without fans, it just isn't working properly. I think I've said publicly a few times, people get involved with non-league football for the day, for the going along, having a pint, seeing their friends, being close to the action. It just didn't work. It didn't work at all without fans. That's our first goal. Let's get fans back in, and then the football can start properly. We have been sensible. We've not kind of thrown money at something last season because we always knew there was going to be problems. So I don't think, our position starting next season is going to be weakened. Everyone knows Liam. Everyone knows kind of Liam's goals. We're not going to be going into the season anything other than wanting to get promoted. That's our goal. That's what we've got to work at as a board, as a team. We've got to do the best we can, get a squad together that we think can do the job, let's not look at 5-year plans. Let's look at next season, and let's concentrate on that.
Yeah, good. This is one that I'm not too sure. The government recently announced that Southport was to receive 37.5 million in a new town deal. Will that have any impact on Southport Football Club?
Well, no one has. We've been looking at that and kind of trying to make noises to see where we might fit into that. It's relatively new. I think we need to be having long chats with lots of people in the Southport community, not just because of that, but let's get the whole town kind of back up and running. And the football's a big side of that, and the football club is a big part of that. So again, these are all conversations we can now have, through the summer, moving towards next season.
Yeah. Okay. Another along the same similar sort of, what is our relationship like with the council and the City Regional Mayor's Office? Do we have a relationship with the council at all that could help us with the club?
I think Potty has the best relationship.
Well, yeah, I do actually. My godson is heavily involved with the council, Sefton Council. So,
do we find the council supportive to the club, Steve?
We are now. We are now, because we definitely have got a foot in the door, because Stephen has been very instrumental on a few things that have been happening around the ground. So once we reconnect with that sort of friendship, we have a sit down and have a little talk. Because there's all sorts of going on with like the 3Gs and 4G pitches, and there's a lot of things happening, but like I say, COVID just ended everything.
It's worth remembering, Rob, that we built up a really good relationship with the council because they helped us a lot over the main stand, and we still haven't seen the benefit properly of the main stand, in the sense of the hospitality and events is really starting to take off. And that's one of the biggest ways we've been hit by COVID, because we were up to kind of 3 or 4 bookings a week for parties and christenings, and it was really becoming a valuable part of the club income. And we worked hard with the council to get that over the line at the time. And again, we're now looking at kind of, that is in place. And once COVID is gone, that will all come back to fruition. And we're looking at the next steps now. We are looking at the potential of kind of 4G pitches and how we can work with the council and how we can be involved in all that. But, like everything else, the council have had other priorities over the last 12 months. And it's a fresh start, hopefully going into next season, and we can start having those chats again and just see how we can work together.
Yeah,
we're not going to the council with the cap in hand, we're just trying to create a friendship and going forward.
Yeah, that answers one of the questions. Sorry, before the lockdown, there was talk of a 3G pitch being built in partnership with Meals Cop. I think Darren talked about that during one of his interviews we did early doors. Is that, obviously it's something we've always wanted for a long time. Is that still a possibility?
Yeah, well, it wasn't just the Meals Cop. There are 3 or 4 potential sites where we could have a relationship with the council in relation to the potential 4G pitches, because obviously grants are available, and the area is crying out for it. Again, it's more questions of kind of which is the most suitable area and how much ownership can we as a club have over that moving forward. Our starting point would be that any kind of such project in that sense, the club would love to own outright. It would be fantastic for the club as an income. But again, COVID put to the shelves all conversations in that respect kind of 6 months ago. But it's something we are looking to regenerate and restart.
Okay, a couple of questions about unfilled posts. We've got an unfilled secretary post and an unfilled community officers post. Any developments on that, Ian?
I can't answer on the community officers post, because obviously that's down to the trust at the minute. As regards to secretary, we purposely haven't been rushing, because obviously everyone is furloughed. And we thought we would take our time. We've still got James in the sense of any kind of little jobs that need doing, but at the moment there aren't any. So we thought that we would take our time We've had 4 or 5 applicants in who, you know, we're aiming to look at this week, you know, invite any for interview. But we're purposely not rushing because we need to get it right. You know, James did a fantastic job. You know, he was working kind of every hour of every day and really got himself involved with the club. And it will be a hard job to fill. So yeah, I mean, we'll be moving on to that this week, but we're not rushing.
No, okay. And I promise you, I haven't sent this one. It's nothing to do with me. So before you say it is, it's not. It's about streaming. Any chance that games could continue to be streamed next season? There are lots of Southport fans scattered around the country, around the world, who can't get to all the games, and the streams have been great for us. The quality has been superb, and after a few early problems, and the commentators have been great and a credit to the club. I did not add that bit in, I promise you. Streaming obviously has proved popular, but there are difficulties with it, aren't there?
Well, we'll feed back to Alan Jones the comments about the great
Cheeky
commentators,
thing.
obviously. It's to be honest, Rob, it's completely out of our hands.
Yeah.
You know, the National League control when and how we can stream. You know, they obviously relaxed all the rules in relation to streaming for obvious reasons while COVID was rife. Will they continue to allow clubs to stream next season? If I'm being honest, I very much doubt it because of the ties to BT Sport and various sponsorship deals. Will clubs want fans being able to stream the games next season? Again, I very much doubt it because to survive, the club needs not just people in through the doors, but people in through the doors buying a pint and a burger and everything else that adds to the income of the club. There are 1 or 2 clubs at the moment who are pushing for streaming for next season because they are concerned that the capacity that might be we might be subject to for the grounds. So obviously there are 1 or 2 clubs who might have more season ticket holders than capacity allows. I suspect that will fall on deaf ears. But, you know, who knows at the moment? We just don't know what the National League are going to say next. There are arguments for and against, and you know, whatever the rules may be, we will work with going forward.
Yeah, good. I'm conscious of the time because we're coming up to close to the time, but a few questions about the ground, Ian, which I think we'll answer in a written response. But obviously, Phil made promises about the ground being covered and so on, and that we've moved on from that now. Any update on that? I don't think it's likely that we're going to be upgrading the ground externally at the moment, are we?
At present, I mean, obviously we've done the main stand, we've done the pitch, we've done the toilets, we've done the main things that people were asking for. We want to concentrate on the team. We want to concentrate on, you know, this is a football club. You know, let's concentrate now on the team and where we are moving forward as regards, you know, next season. There are no plans to do kind of any other main works to the stadium whatsoever at the moment. You know, that might change as the next 12 months go on, but you know, let's remember we're just out of a pandemic. You know, we've had no income into the club at all for nigh on 12 months now. So you know, let's kind of get our house in order, and then worry about the football.
Okay, Tony, can I just bring you back in as a final? So we started with you, so we'll finish with you. A lot to think about as a new boy on the board. What's the one thing you would like to see in your first? Well, as soon as the football gets up and running again, what's the one thing you'd like to see happen?
On the football side of things, you talk.
Yeah.
Obviously, a Southport win.
Yeah.
3
That's a
points.
logical answer.
A logical answer. You know, obviously, you know that's why we do the things we do, isn't it? We want to win and we want to compete. So I know that's what Liam and Ian are all about, the winners, and I certainly am as well. So yeah, you know, successful football.
Yeah, lovely. And as a board person, then what would be one thing you the first thing you'd like to think, right, I'm going to do that?
First thing I'd like to do is meet everyone first of all, face to face. That would be the nice thing, you know. It's get a feel for the people behind the scenes and just get into the spirit of the football club basically. At board level, I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing what I can bring, see what energy I can bring to the football club, and yeah, just getting stuck in whatever needs doing.
I was worried that you were going to say sack Liam there as your first job, but he did go a bit pale when I asked the question.
No, I think I'm just wondering how long it's going to take for the Southport fans to do a GoFundMe page and get a statue of Liam outside the outside the club, but I'm sure that'll come one day.
I'm sure it'll be due.
Tony, the last time I saw you excited was when you was at Marine eating chips and gravy.
Chips and gravy,
Ian,
yeah, that's correct.
Sorry, Ian, final word to you, summing up as to the current position, and we only have got a couple of minutes, so just you're summing up on how you see things going forward.
Position at the moment, looking forward. I think we've done enough kind of stabilizing and looking back and worrying. We've got new energy on board now with Tony. We're all optimistic. We're all really looking forward to next season. We're already talking players and contracts, and more than anything else, just looking forward to getting the fans back into the Pure Stadium, so that we can all just enjoy the football, to be honest.
Okay, well, just a final word. We have had a few comments about lack of content going out at the moment. Strictly speaking, there isn't a lot we can put out. We can't tell everybody what Liam's had for his dinner every day without making it sound boring. So, but if anybody has got any ideas about content they want us to put out, then please do get in touch with me. We are going to do a little feature on the volunteers the week after next, which will go out at the end of March, just to show the work that's been done at the ground and give them a bit of coverage. So we have got things like that going out, but any ideas at all, please do get in touch with me. And as I say, we have skipped through a few of the questions here, which I'll run through with Ian later and then put a written response out onto the website. So there's still plenty to be going out, but please come forward with any ideas. Okay, well, thank you all for your time. And as I say, thank you everybody that submitted some questions, and we'll catch up again maybe in about a month's time.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob, just before you go, this is obviously off the record, between us, but I've got a good idea for content that can go out. Liam does a walk every single day, and he could have fans following him on the walk potentially, or just videos himself where he's going that day and see, motivate people to get off and join him for the hour of the day if they've got left on the lockdown. Could be a good idea.
That's an excellent idea. And I've carried on recording that, Tony, so that's going out to everybody.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. No, please don't do that.
Join him as well.
Thanks all.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.